Okay, I'm gonna change my texture. Anybody knows what a melanin is? When you start when you start doing UV mapping or using textures, you have to start figuring out what is the material you're actually using. Okay, so melanin is this paper that fakes wood that you put in. So it really depends on the material. Okay, and you have to think about what material you're using when you start UV mapping. Okay, and that's also going to tell you how you're going to wrap it up, because otherwise you get a bit confused about how does it work. Okay, so let's continue. We have melanin. So as I said, this cannot work as a final solution, but just to fake something. So if this is a table back there and I'm not going to see it, maybe. Okay, we have to do it step by step. Now let's do a cylinder, okay? And let's wrap the cylinder. Let's erase the UVs here, so UV, delete UVs, okay? And then let's use our automatic mapping tools to wrap, to unfold this cylinder, okay? So if I would just apply right now a cylinder one, it doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't work because the top is also being considered a cylinder, so it's completely flat. Okay, so what I have to do is actually take the ones in the middle. I'm gonna actually erase the whole thing again. Okay, and I'm gonna take the faces in the middle because they do work as a cylinder, and I'm gonna apply that. Right now that works. Now the ones in the top are actually a plane, right? So I can take them. Sorry. I can take them. Now deselect this part. Okay, and I'm going to use best plane. So best plane, I have to select the best plane for it to know what's the best plane and then enter. That's working fine. Now I'm doing the same down here and select the rest. I go to best plane. It's also this icon here that I dropped, by the way. So best plane, then I select my best plane and enter. Now I get something pretty much like I had at the beginning. Okay, it doesn't look like, but it's actually there. It's just that everything that I map is going to try to fit on this 1x1 texture, okay? So I do have 3 shells. I'm just gonna move them around. I have 1, I have 2, and I have 3. So I have the top, that's the bottom, this is the top. And whatever I select, I see it on the viewport and I see it on the UV editor. And this is the side, okay? Now, this is probably not on the right scales, okay? I see that the texture is a bit more stretched out or larger here than here. And we have to fix the scales and the arrangement, but I'm gonna let you do these automatic mappings and then we continue to the arrangement and layout because otherwise you get confused. Okay, so go ahead and we continue with it. Now, so most of you actually have everything like this, right? One on top of the other and a bit of a mess, you don't even see the shells, okay? So for that, we have some arrange options. So this is probably how your UV toolkit comes, okay? I can go and open here, arrange and layout, select my UV shells, so select them all and press on layout, okay? And what that's gonna do is gonna try to fit your shells within the 1x1 space, okay? Now let's say this is rotated, okay? This is rotated and out here, I can orient this shell. It's gonna make it either vertical or horizontal, okay? And then I can take my shells again and then layout, okay? So in the other case, it actually fitted better, okay? Kind of depends. Maybe I can also lay out it along the UV, the U or the V, okay? So it really depends on what you want. I can now just put this here and scale it up as well. It doesn't really matter. But I can start separating my things by doing that. I could also actually stack the shells on top of each other, doing this, okay? And then I can select the whole thing again and press layout and it's gonna try to spread it around. Okay, so just do that so that you don't have your shells one on top of each other, and then we can continue with the next part. So to scale them in the right, in the right scale so that they all have the same proportions, one thing is really obvious for me. This top and bottom are way too big in comparison to the size, because if I observe the 3D image, that's twice the distance than the diameter. So obviously this cannot be, okay? And I can see it also because the texture seems to be too big in comparison to the top, okay? So what do? I can go to transform and get the texel density from the top, get it, and then take the other shells and set them to the same texel density. Now they all have the same density, so let's say they all have at least the texture in the same size projected on them, okay? And then I can just go again and press layout and have them inside my my texture, okay? So as I said before, if I have everything on different sides and I don't care about copying a texel density, I just select them all, put a number and set it, and now they are all on the same texel density.